It's just ready for the trip, okay?
Yeah.
It's perfect. Just
Good evening. You're watching 6-1 News. The headlines tonight are: Fine Gael is in hot water after arranging unofficial foreign visits, highlights from interview with the president, and Eurovision takes the top spot for RTE's most viewed show. We apologize for today's late start. Before we begin tonight's show, we would first like to welcome you to the first edition of the 6-1 News. The set you see around us is very temporary, and very soon we will move into our new permanent home that is currently under construction. We remain committed to bringing you news without fear or favor. In our lead story tonight, an anonymous Fine Gael TD has told RTE News that his party, including a leader of the opposition, Oswald, has been attempting to arrange meetings with foreign governments, including those of France, Spain, Australia, Bosnia, and the Vatican. As of news time, the only known visit was with France. The contents of these meetings are unknown at this time, but the government of Bosnia denies meeting with any Irish lawmakers. Former Minister for Foreign Affairs Dean Bourne said in a statement before resigning that it is important to note that these engagements conducted outside the appropriate diplomatic channels risk undermining Ireland's foreign policy. They not only jeopardize our standing on the world stage, but risk creating confusion around our official positions. With a recent cabinet shuffle, Taoiseach and Minister for Foreign Affairs Ian McGrath has not issued a new statement or guidance regarding the Fine Gael meetings as of news time. In breaking news tonight, Minister for Defence and Domestic Affairs Mrs. Sunday has told RTE News that leader of the opposition, Oswald, has been declared a terrorist by an anonymous vote of the National Security Council. This comes after verified reports of Oswald attempting to seek serious help to overthrow the democratically elected government of Ireland. RTE News has independently verified the image that's currently on screen, which shows Oswald is in a group chat with Syrian officials, openly seeking their help to overthrow the government, with Syria refusing to interfere in Irish affairs. In response to all this, Mrs. Sunday said in a statement to RTE that terrorists have no place in the Oistrach or in Ireland. This individual attempted to undermine our democratically elected government for the personal gain in a reckless and incompetent manner. This government and this nation will not tolerate extremism or treason in any form. Last night's explosive question time in the Dáil ended with leaders' questions skipped and eventually the leader of the opposition being ejected. Cian Carla, Jessie Clarkmore, defended her decision to eject Oswald, saying that during the sitting, the deputy stood 6 separate times to interrupt other deputies who were submitting points of order or responding to questions. I ejected him under Standing Order 44 for repeated disorderly conduct. We will keep you updated on further developments. On Thursday, RTE hosted the penultimate interview with Irish President Cillian Clark. The full interview is on the RTE YouTube channel, but here's some highlights.
Right, hello, welcome to the penultimate interview with Killian Clark. Obviously our president, Hilsa, I believe that's how you say it. This is the second time we'll be interviewing him. As you may remember, we interviewed him at the start of the term, and the final one will be at the end of his term. Yay!
Good
Well,
evening, Ilse. It is so lovely to have you on the couch again.
I mean, we'll obviously start on the subject of your presidency. It has lasted 1 year at this. It has lasted over 1 year. What do you believe is your biggest plunder and your biggest success during your time in office so far?
my biggest blunder. I think maybe I won't reveal with what Taoiseach, but with one of my Taoiseach, I think I was new in the job. I was very nervous of how I would present to the public, and I took on a very defensive view of our institutions. And I think the times required that view. They required that brute force. They required that stern attitude. But I think oftentimes there were moments where it wasn't required, where I needed to be a peace builder, a peace broker, and I think I've adopted that characteristic now, and I think I adopted it quickly. But at one particular moment, and I won't reveal when, I think my presidency was a very reactionary one.
And what about your greatest success?
Oh yes, thank God! I thought this was just going to be depressing. My greatest success. I liked I liked that I've been president throughout this kind of liminal stage where some people in Ireland are going back to the UK and having jobs in the UK, and some people aren't. And some people are getting charged with crimes in the UK, as a matter of fact. That's a nice time to be around in Ireland. I think it's not necessarily my greatest success. There's very little I can attribute my office to, and that's the same with my predecessors. That's not the role of Uachtaráin. It's not an inherently political office.
As president, you act as the figurehead of our country. I ask, what does Ireland mean to you? When you represent Ireland, what are the core ideas you spread, and typically ones you've held throughout your time in Ireland?
I remember when I became president, it was my predecessor, my immediate predecessor's. It wasn't my immediate predecessor, I lied, it was Sequatic who told me, and it was a weird thing to reconcile with. He said, you have to be the face of the community in many ways. People will begin to completely, well, they had done it, they had been doing it for quite some time already, years already, but you will begin to very explicitly be the face of the community, whether you like it or not. And I think that is one of the best characterizations of the office.
So, Killian, you went from being one of the most politically active Labourites Ireland has ever seen to becoming what some see as this very wise, compassionate individual. Whilst you still have outbursts and tangents in the general chat, what happened to the old Killian? Do you think you had to change yourself for this office, or has the office changed you?
Well, I think you're absolutely right in saying that I am always going to be prone to those tantrums, by the way, those outbursts of, God, I hate Facilio and I hope he dies. I mean, I think ultimately everyone is responsible for those from time to time. But I don't think that Killian left. I think that Killian is still here, just a little different. And the ideals I push, in real politics, it's very different. You know, the policies that they fight for in the Dáil have ultimately very, very little to do with my office. Maybe the essence and the principles of them do. So if they're introducing a bill that maybe undermines the press, I won't come out and condemn the bill. That's not what my office does. It can do that, but it's not what it should. It would be pushing and challenging the limits of the office if I did that.
When you first became president, what was your feeling in that exact moment? You had just taken the oath, you had just left Dublin Castle, the campaign was done, your time was up, you were now in the spotlight for the next 7 months, and now, as we know, for another 7 months. How did that make you feel? How do you feel about this overbearing pressure that you are the face of Ireland and you constantly are being watched, judged, and critiqued? How does that make you feel, Killian?
That was well, in the moment, it was really terrifying. It was terrifying. I can say this with absolute certainty. Every single president who came before me did not feel terrified. They had done a lot before they got the office, and that's not to say I didn't do a lot, but they had done a lot in a presidential way. They had really prepared and had been groomed for the office, and I was not. I was not. I was not an Oris person. I did not enjoy the idea of being president. So by the time I actually came around to being president, I knew a lot would have to change. I would have to fight my political battles differently, like I just spoke about. Those changes were not easy. I was terrified of them. And though I had faced quite a lot of scrutiny for Ireland before, after unification, Ireland was constantly scrutinised as a group, and especially when we got our permanent 5 seat, we were the next target. If we became slightly inactive, we would be up for removal. The British people, the British establishment, I should say, would swarm Twitter, they would swarm the channel and say, oh, here we go again, look how bad this group is getting. And though I wasn't president, I would often be the first to respond, and other people in the group would sit in general chat and they'd say, they have a point. I wouldn't settle for that group. And so I was ready for that level of scrutiny from foreign counterparts, perhaps.
Killian, it has truly been an honour and a privilege. And I'm sure the viewers at home and in the studio with us tonight have enjoyed your lovely responses to the questions tabled to you.
Those just joining us earlier in the program, RTE broke the news that leader of the opposition, Oswald, has been declared a terrorist by an unanimous vote of the National Security Council. Photos are being shown on screen relating to this decision. And now to a lighter story tonight. 2 weeks ago, RTE aired the Eurovision Song Contest, live from Dublin, which saw Austria taking the crown with JJ's Wasted Love. The viewing figures for the two shows have just been released, showing records being broken, as both the semi-finale and the grand finale took the top spots as RTE's most watched live show. Semi-finale 1 peaked at 38 concurrent viewers, with an average of 20 people watching throughout the program, and at the time of this broadcast stands over 3,100 views. The grand finale peaked at 48 concurrent viewers, with an average of 21 people watching throughout the program, and also at the time of this broadcast sits on over 5,300 views, making it the most watched show ever on RTE. And with that, we come to the end of the 6-1 news for tonight. Join us at 8 for the legislative session. On behalf of the entire RTE news team, thanks for watching. Good night, Ireland.